Hello, everybody. Good evening, and welcome to another episode of Fan Experience TV. I am your host, Mike Katos. Alongside me is my co-host, Rick Molina. And Rick, we're featured on a website right now.
We are featured on iPonder.
iPonder.com. That's IPONDR.com. We had a chat with our good friend, Mr. Ben Osborne, who came on this show back in November or December. Longtime Bleacher Report editor, and what was he? Now he's working with Fox Sports.
Fox Sports, yeah.
And what was he with? The Overtime or the other one? The other one that was basketball, right?
Not sure. Don't remember.
Bleacher Report was the big one, and now he's with Fox Sports. And for a brief stint, he did some work with iPonder, and we jumped on a chat with him. And the article is up there. You will see the faces that you see every single Tuesday and Thursday right there on the front page. So it was a great honor to have the opportunity to speak with him on that. So thank you to Ben out there, and thank you to iPonder for featuring the article. And go take a look at it when you guys have a chance. Yes. But like I said, for those of you just joining us for the first time, thank you for tuning in. It's a pleasure that you guys are here and girls. And the Met. Let's start by the Mets are starting to look like the Mets again. They can't get out of their own way. And, I got Rick sending me text the other day that Pete Alonso should be banned from first base.
Oh, yeah.
Well, I agree that he's not the best defensive first baseman. It did not cost them the game. If you give up 3 runs, you should still be winning a game.
Yeah.
That's the way I see it. But they got shellacked yesterday, and it is 3-2 right now. Cubs on top
in the fourth.
So they're looking at a possible sweep there, but hopefully they can come back and salvage this final game. But your Yankees won a game the other day.
That's a rarity these days.
But they won. They lost the next one, and it was just a 2-game set, right? What are the?
I believe.
But they are up 5-3 against the Indians.
They're 5-3 now.
So, we'll see what happens. But I guess let's hear a take. Let's go to another side of New York, unless you want to put in something for the Yankees. But you're a little jubilant about a certain other team in New York. So take it away.
Well, first of all, good evening, everybody. Thank you for tuning in tonight. I'm a little out of it because I had my second shot of COVID, my COVID vaccine, and today was a tough day to get through. But I'm on the back end of it now, so feeling better. So make sure you guys go out there, get your vaccines, get vaccinated, and stay safe. But there's a team on 34th and 8th that plays in that big building over there that we call Madison Square Garden, the world's most famous arena. And in that building, led by a man named Tom Thibodeau, who should be the coach of the year, and led by Julius Randle, the most improved player of the year, who has MVP considerations, and led by, the 9 god, RJ Barrett, and Emmanuel Quigley, and Nerlens Noel, and of course the rejuvenation of Derrick Rose. The New York Knicks, my beloved New York Knicks, our beloved New York Knicks, are in the 4th seed, 32-27, 13 games left, ready to go to the playoffs, excited. What can you say about this team? Vegas had them winning 22 games. Nobody had any faith in them. People thought the Knicks were just, this sort of rebuilding team, kind of a joke. And here comes in Leon Rose. He drafts Obi Toppin. He hires Tom Thibodeau. He hires Worldwide West. Keeps Scott Perry. And the New York Knicks all of a sudden are a team to reckon with in the NBA. And here's the thing, man. It's all around one thing: defense. In New York, whether you're playing football or basketball or hockey, whatever it is, defense wins the day. The Knicks right now are one of the top. I think they're the top team in the NBA in defense. They're ranked 5th in 3-point shooting. Reggie Bullock is shooting lights out. RJ's hitting his threes. Alex Burks, and that's with Alex Burke being out and Mitchell Robinson being out. But credit to Thibodeau, to the Knicks, 4th seed, 13 games left, headed to the playoffs. And I got to tell you right now, Mike, if we get that 4th seed and we get a first round at home at the Garden in front of our fans, oh baby. I don't see why the Knicks. That's right. Give the Knicks some respect. And that's right, Ashwin. Put some respect on that name. Put some respect on that name because the New York Knicks are taking names. They're a couple of players away from making a big time push, but my beloved New York Knicks, just incredible. I've watched every game, have not missed a game. And so
well, thank you for tuning in, Ashwin. We always love the support. Matty Wolf backstage. Thank you for tuning in.
Thank you, Matt. We got to do Matt's show.
Yes, we certainly are going to figure that out, for sure. But yeah, I mean, hey, the Knicks are riding high, and it's a rare sight to see.
Yes, and you know what else is?
But it's good.
I've been wearing the same Obi Toppin jersey for the last 7 games. That's why we're winning. I'm not changing the jersey until there's a big disaster. I'm not changing the jersey.
There you go. Yeah. I mean, if it's working, it's working, right?
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it's all about. But I mean, let's see how far they could push it. But even making the playoffs is a win and a half.
It's dude, that's like winning a championship, especially this year with the expectations as low as they were for the Knicks to make the playoffs, and especially a 4th seed, man. I mean, that's just a team that you don't want to play. God help the team that we play.
But you know what? I mean, the Brooklyn Nets are just they're falling apart. It is, they're still not playing together. I mean, what was it? Like a handful of games?
They played 7 games together.
Is it still only 7? Yeah.
7 games.
Yeah, because Durant's been out.
Yeah.
And he's going to continue to be out. So it's shaky at best over there. They have this all-star lineup, but they can't play a game together. So
exactly.
What good is it?
Exactly.
So hey, I mean, the Knicks could get a little farther than most people probably gave them credit for. Even a Heat fan in Ashwin, showing some respect to the New York Knickerbockers.
Yeah, but it starts with Julius Randle, who came in shape, and the guy's he's dropping. He's had 5 40-point games. I mean, he's lights out. He's not missing from 3. He's hitting that mid-range shot. He's playing defense, and Derrick Rose, who's settled that second unit and they're playing point guard real well. I mean, the Knicks are a point guard away. They're a point guard and a shooting guard away from really doing some damage. But listen, it's a nice run. Let's enjoy the moment. I can't wait to be around MSG when the playoffs start. Maybe go in there, grab a beer, catch one of the games. But I'm truly pumped, man. I'm excited. I've watched every game this year. Have not missed one.
That I will. I'll give you that, man. I mean, you have sat there. I mean, through the abysmal years. Yeah. And you just you keeping the faith, and that's really all it's about. Being a sports fan. Sometimes you have to sit through these abysmal years, and just hope for that one day that it all comes together, and obviously changing the head coach and making a couple of nice little draft picks, even though they get screwed in the lottery almost every year.
Yeah, but
they made the best of every single opportunity that they were given, and hey, I mean, sky's the limit at this point.
By the way, your Mets down 3-2 in the 4th. They just blew a golden opportunity to.
Of course they did. So it was probably second guy on second with no outs, and they couldn't do anything.
Brandon Nimmo, I think, came up and
yeah. Well, thank you. Thank you for stating the obvious. I truly appreciate it. But I guess we'll get into some NFL draft news after our next guest.
We're a week away. But we'll talk about that.
After our next guest. But right now, joining us is the founder of Gif Out Loud. Please help us in welcoming Chynna Morgan to the show. Chynna, how are you?
Hey, Chynna, how are you?
Well, big congrats on your feature today. That's awesome.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Chynna was, obviously, Chynna's pretty big on music because we'll get into Gif Out Loud, but she was bopping to that theme song at the beginning. I saw her backstage bopping. Honestly, it really gets me pumped. I mean,
it brings the energy. I'm excited for you guys coming on, so that's good.
Yeah, absolutely.
I didn't know you guys could see me. Next time I have to be like.
well, Mike,
you weren't doing anything,
Yeah.
No, but thank you very much for coming on. It is a pleasure to have you here.
Yeah.
So let's we started off really the same way every single time. So where did you develop a love of sports? Where were you born and raised, and who did you grow up, rooting for, and who was your team? And I understand you also played. So, walk us through that timeline a little bit.
Yeah, so I'm born and raised in the Bay Area. So I'm a Warriors fan for life. my grandpa, my dad, all my brothers, my cousins, everyone in my family have been Warriors fans. They're also Niner fans. I'm not too big on football. I know more about basketball. But I did play basketball in high school. I was a point guard, and then I went to college. I just fell out of love with it. But I still love watching it. It still gets me excited to watch.
Yeah, you got quite a decent player over there that's breaking records all over the place here, and 3-point percentage that's just out of this world
crazy right now. Like,
and then hook shots like it's nothing the other day. Unbelievable, this guy.
Yeah. And he's doing it by himself. Like, he doesn't really have this core like he usually does, and he's just killing it. Yeah.
It's just insane to watch him. It's insane to watch him play. It really is. It's a lot of fun, and I'm obviously we've watched a lot of greats play, but rest in peace to the late Kobe Bryant. And obviously he was a big part, and LeBron is still just killing it out there. But Steph Curry, same team, which is
he's right there with the best of them.
Yeah. But it's always in the same team, so that says something in itself too.
Yeah. Who's your guys' favorite players? Not favorite team, but like who's like your all-time favorite basketball player?
Michael Jordan.
Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
I'm a Knicks fan, but it's Mike. It's
yeah.
Got it.
Yeah, we've had that Jordan LeBron debate a few times on this
can you really
on
compare?
This show, but
can you compare? Or are they just two different players?
There's an argument to be made, but growing up, in the time that we grew up, like, it's so hard to go against
Michael.
Jordan, it's just that's just the God's honest truth on that one. So you went to college, and you went to college for healthcare.
Yeah.
And then you came up with this idea for Gif Out Loud. So first, tell us what Gif Out Loud is for those of our fans in the audience that do not know, and then how you came up with this concept.
Okay. So I'll go back a little bit. So starting from like age 7, I was in theater and doing commercials and acting. So I've always been in the entertainment industry in a way. So I guess that kind of ties into how I started my business. So I went to college, and I knew I couldn't be in the entertainment industry because it's really not a for sure, like, you're gonna make it, right? So I'm like, okay, I need to get an education. So I went and I got my bachelor's in healthcare management, and I was actually getting my master's in healthcare management. And then I was thinking one day, I was like, what if we're able to add our voice to GIFs to communicate? Because I know me, I don't really talk on the phone a lot. I just text. But when you're texting so much, you kind of lose the tone of the conversation. Mm-hmm. You're like, hold on, what is he saying? Or hold on, you just don't know.
Yeah.
So I was like, what if we're able to add our voice to GIFs so we can kind of get the full story? You can kind of get the funny visual, and you can also hear the person's tone or the music that they want to add to it. So I was 3 classes away from finishing my master's. I stopped my master's, and then I just went full throttle and started my tech company. So we started a communication platform that allowed anyone in the world to add their voice to any GIF in the world and then share from your keyboard. And then like a year into that, Shell and Pennzoil reached out and asked me to create them their own version for the Formula One event. So I said, hold up, this is a great way for us to partner with brands and create these cool experiences using music and GIFs. So then we retired our app, and now we just work directly with brands to create either digital or kiosk experiences that allows their users to create user-generated content with music, with their sonic identity and their voice. Yeah, so that's a little journey there. It was a little journey.
So you literally 3 classes away, you're like, I'm done with this. I'm out.
You know what? I knew that I was never going to be in the healthcare industry anyway.
Yeah.
So there's really no point of me finishing it And because I just knew I wanted to go full throttle with. I had a passion for this idea.
Yeah.
And I was ready to let everything else go and just start it. So that's what I did.
Now, for our viewers, because I don't know when I use GIFs all the time when I like text and but when did GIFs first come out? Like when were they first?
It was like 1987 when they first. It was like in the 80s when they first like created the format. But it didn't start getting popular until Jiffy created their app, and that's when we started communicating with it, like in our daily way of communicating, whether that's like Facebook, Instagram, thing. So it wasn't until like maybe like 2013, 14 when it started getting really popular.
That is incredible. I had no idea.
Crazy?
That was like no idea. And so with your company now, so in other words, if I like get on my phone and I want to send Mike a GIF, I can actually voice note it and everything?
So we used to. So we had an app. We retired our app.
Okay.
Not an app anymore. So now we just work directly with brands to create those experiences for their audiences.
Yeah. And tell us about how those experiences are working out with the brands. Are you working with sports teams or any industry? How's that playing out?
So we usually do like experiential campaigns or experiential marketing. So we usually at like music festivals, retail activations, sports venues. And then Corona came. Everything canceled, right? Everything. So all of our activations were canceled. So we had to start doing virtual activations. But before Corona, it was a kiosk. So maybe you're like at the sports arena, you're able to tap on the screen, create content, maybe like with your favorite player, as the music, and then you're able to share it.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's just incredible story, and I agree. Obviously, people. It's very hard, to talk via text sometimes, and you do lose that tone, and you might sound like you're saying something. You can't push forward the sarcastic tone that you're saying it.
Yeah.
I know me myself, like I'm very sarcastic.
Yeah.
Okay.
So it sounds like I'm an asshole.
Many a relationship has been ruined. Yeah.
you're like, hold on, is that why I got ghosted? Is that now we have a solution, right? Now you're able to really tell your story.
Good to know.
Well, I know when we spoke a few months ago, and you were talking about obviously playing the field and the sports fan dating app that we're building. Building something like that into the app would be a great idea, as far as, portraying some kind of a tone, and it'll give people, the flexibility and the freedom to put more of their personality into these texts or messages instead of just, hey.
Like, how are you doing? Yeah. And it really allows you, like you said, it allows you to see their personality. Like, are they funny? Do they have like a quirky personality? I think it kind of breaks that wall in the beginning as well.
Yeah.
Especially if you hear somebody's voice or you hear like a funky song, you're like, oh, okay, I could dig this. Or,
Yeah, you just blast them with the fan experience theme music, and they're off to the races. No, but so back to that kiosk. So it's kind of like a photo booth that you have at like weddings and stuff. Like that's type of setup, but it's just a different, content, medium.
So it's like TikToks for kiosks, kind of. So it would kind of turn your audience into like music videos. So special effects with your music and vibrations. And then it's supposed to, we try to make the most shareable content that gets your audience excited to share it on social media. And I know like regular photo booths are just kind of like, just simple kind of memory.
Yeah.
We try to make it more immersive, and we really hone into like the music component, because I think a lot of brands don't realize how important music is in any experience, because it can really change our emotion about a brand, right? You can make them feel happy, you can make them feel serious. So it's kind of like, does your brand sound like, and how can we make that into an exciting experience that gets them to want to share your brand even more on socials?
Yeah, and I watched an interview that you had probably close to a year ago, like right after COVID hit, and somebody brought up, it's like, on the radio and all these like jingles. So basically, you're making just like a more advanced jingle for these brands to communicate with their consumers. And I checked out the website as well. gifsoutloud.com for anyone that is interested in checking it out, by the way. But I see, you had like Oreo and a lot of different music videos and stuff. So when did you think, obviously start with the brand, but when did that whole music video idea come into play when you were developing this?
So I think so I'm big on music. I come from a musical family, so I'm really big on music, right? And I seen that we really wanted to try to make the content as special as possible. And there wasn't really another company that was creating kind of like immersive, interactive videos using music. So we're like, what if they're able to create GIFs that they love creating anyway, right? When you go to a concert, they're taking pictures, they're, creating content. So what if we're able to like remix the music into it and make it into like this cool music video that they feel like they're really somewhere, or they feel like you really took them to another experience. So I think it was just us brainstorming, trying to figure out how can we make our content look different than our indirect competitors.
That's awesome.
That's fascinating. And the thing about it, you don't have a tech background, right? Like no tech background, and you pretty much started this sort of like out of just right? So tell us about that journey, right? You don't have any funding. It's just you by yourself. You just dropped out of like getting a healthcare or you're about to get a healthcare master's. I mean, how were you able to handle all that?
So I would have to say my family were like my backbone. I don't think I could have done it without their support.
Yeah.
So really, I probably owe it to them as my support system. But I think that a lot of people in the tech industry or who want to go into the tech industry think because you don't have an engineering degree or you don't have a marketing degree that it's not possible. But if you have an idea and you find someone that believes in your idea, anything is possible.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Because there's so many people that you just have to figure out what your skills are and then find people around you that have skills that you don't have. So when I first started, I literally just went to Google. I Googled everything. Okay, how do I start? How do I find a developer? How do I get a designer? And it was just really me just doing that research and just meeting people, networking, then creating a prototype and then launching. It was really I won't say simple, but it was just me researching and then just figuring it out as I go.
And from the starting point to where you decided to do this to now, how many years is that?
Four.
4 years.
4 years.
Wow. So the journey continues. I mean, now, what are some of the companies that you work with? Are they big Fortune 500 companies? Are they large or small companies?
Yeah. So actually, one of the first companies we worked with was Shell and Pennzoil. So those were big Fortune 500 companies. Yeah. That we work with. So that was our first introduction. So once we got that partnership, we're like, okay, we're able to really work with other companies because we kind of already have our name, out there already. Mm-hmm. But we work with all type of companies, whether it's small, big. Right now, we're actually building a virtual platform that allows any type of brands to create their own Gif Out Loud web virtual app. Yeah. If you have like a campaign, you're able to just go on the app, customize it, add your songs, choose songs from our music library, and then it generates a URL. So anyone that you want could kind of create content around the campaign that you just developed. So that's something we're building right now for like the virtual. Okay. That's for more towards smaller and medium size brands.
Got it.
Yeah.
Now, so are you the consumer facing one that's totally gone, or do you have plans to bring it back in the future, like a different revamp type version?
Yeah, so we're still doing it actually. There's some brands that are still reaching out for our kiosks. As now that the world is starting to open back up and people are getting more comfortable. So we're actually doing an activation in the end of May using two of our kiosks at an activation in Oklahoma actually. And then we might be doing one for a bigger brand in June. So it's an exciting time where we're kind of seeing the light come back again.
Yeah, right.
Little kiosks. Yeah. But you know what? I think virtual is never going to leave. I think the hybrid model is going to stay. So we're just making sure that we can kind of, tailor to both markets.
No, that's an awesome idea. Sorry, I had to mute the mic. I got dogs running rampant.
Okay, I'm surprised you haven't heard mine. I'm happy mine's.
Well, I probably did, but I hear mine too much. So
that's all right. We're all animal lovers here. That's okay.
No, it is what it is. But yeah, I mean, obviously, we're trending up, in the in-person type of, events again, with more than half of like adults having at least one shot of the vaccine, and all NFL teams for the most part are looking into 100% capacity.
How do you guys feel about that? Do you guys think it's too soon? Is it just
I mean, they want that, obviously when it comes time to actually implement it, then they'll have to make that determination then. But I think it's definitely going to be more than the 20% we got here right now in outdoor stadiums. But obviously they've been making the right choices, trying to keep this thing at bay as much as possible. Yeah. So I'm sure the states are gonna put down their rulings and see what happens.
Yeah, but it's an exciting time because I feel like it's kind of going back to our normal, I guess a new normal, where we kind of see the ending of the tunnel. Like, okay, I'll be able to go to restaurants, or I'll be able to go to my favorite sports team. That's
or whatever.
Yeah.
I feel like if anything else, it kind of gave people the opportunity to just like step back for a second and just like, I guess, assess their themselves for a second. Like, I mean, maybe they were too wrapped up in their work. Some of these people, maybe they were too wrapped up in sports. Some of these people, or or this and that, and then they didn't have that outlet anymore. And they realized that they took just a step back, a deep breath, and been like, wow, like I really did miss out on all my family because I was at the office every single day for 14 hours a day.
Yeah.
Now I figured out how I can work 5 hours a day at home and then only a couple hours at the office, and give more time for myself and my family. And honestly, I've always been a firm believer that there was so many like old school companies that have been around for so long that just refused to ever, outsource a job or, build remote jobs. And now, because they actually had to, out of necessity, they realized like, maybe this isn't as bad as we thought. And then they're saving hundreds of thousands of dollars on rent because they don't have to rent the whole building. They could just rent half of one or half of a floor instead of a full floor, and then have a couple people come in remote, a couple people in the office. I think a lot of good has come out of it in a very unfortunate time. But, I think that people gain clarity through everything that's happened.
I think so. I always like to say there's always a silver lining on any situation. And I think that is the silver lining, was people were able to kind of sit back, whether that was connect with people they've never connected with before, or connect with old people that they lost connections with, or create an idea and start a company. I think it was a blessing in disguise in a way, if you take it that way, and then in terms of like companies, there were so many stubborn companies that they knew that they could work remotely, but they just didn't want to. And now it's like you have no excuse. And I know in the Bay Area, they closed so many buildings in San Francisco because it's like, this is how we're going to work now. We're just going to work remotely. And I think it is found that people work better when they have the freedom to work how they want to work, and they're not being micromanaged, or, so I think that's a good thing for all types of work employees at these companies.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, hey, me and Rick, we started this show through it all.
That's how we started. Yeah, I mean, I remember it was like the Last Dance came out, the Michael Jordan thing, like, because that was like right. Remember, like that's
that. We gotta talk about that show.
We'll get into it. But like that was all that we had like looking forward to in sports, and I think it was like in June it came out. And I remember Mike, because Mike is commissioner of our fantasy football league, and I was like, you know what? I don't know if there's going to be a season. I don't know what's going on. I'm just like, and I didn't tell him. I was like, well, I'm gonna step aside this year.
He left me hanging, and he was trying to ghost me.
He started telling me about his company, and and while I was in COVID, I was like, oh, I thought about doing a podcast or whatever. And then we were like, well, why don't we just try to do one, just see how it works? Literally went to Micro Center, the store over here. I bought a new laptop. I bought a microphone, some headphones, and our first show, I was wearing these iPhone like headphones.
Okay.
Like it was
the
just
AirPods?
like it was like the AirPods. I was doing
the wired ones, so not even the AirPods.
And like you can't see right now, we have a green screen in the background, but I was doing the show literally on like a hamper where I put the computer on,
Okay.
and we had like this like screen set up. I mean, that's literally how it started. But you know, it's funny you guys mentioned that. Like, I feel like, especially like at work myself, like it gave me a chance to step back and be like, my God, like I'm going like 100 miles an hour. I need to slow down. I kind of even miss like the fact that like, we were all quarantined. You're like, gather your thoughts. Yeah, gather your thoughts. Everything is slowed down. Like you kind of reassess where you want to go in life, do things. So I do kind of miss that. But I'm also kind of glad that we're back in the real world. But let's talk about The Last Dance, because during COVID, that was the show. Mike and I have just said that we're Jordan fans. I mean, I thought The Last Dance showed the greatness of Jordan, like his drive, his perseverance. I mean, his just will to win. I mean, do you see some of like those attributes in terms of like as you as the CEO of your company, like that hunger to succeed all the time?
Yeah. I think every entrepreneur has to have that. They have to have that resilience. They have to have that. I don't care what you say, I'm going to do it anyway. Because if you don't, then you're going to be eaten by the wolves, you know? So I think it was awesome to see that side of him. But I think we also seen some sides. We're like, oh, he's kind of like, maybe not the nicest, or very kind of arrogant. So I was glad they showed us a balance of his personality, because that's what makes him great, is just who he is,
Mm-hmm.
So that was good.
But you mentioned that as a CEO, right? Like there's that balance, because sometimes you can't be too nice because you have a business to run. So how do you balance that? How do you sort of the nice person at the same time? I'm running a company and I got to get a job done.
You know what? I think it depends on who you surround yourself around, as well as kind of like who you hire, and just kind of, I think there's always boundaries, right? You could be nice, but there's boundaries in each role, and you can't really get them confused. So I think I'm just very strict in terms of like work, of like, this is your role, this is mine. We're a team, but we have to keep our boundaries so that we can kind of keep this train moving. So luckily I haven't really had any issues with, putting people in straight. If so, I would just, have to do it in my way, in my way they want to be, and, working with me. But yeah, I think there's a way to do anything like that.
Okay.
In terms of, putting people in their place, or keeping the boundaries.
There you go.
Yeah, I mean, that's definitely a necessity for sure. But I love what you say. Just doesn't matter what everyone else says. You just got to go with your gut, or whatever the case is. If you think something's going to work, you just have to test it out. If it doesn't work, well, no regrets, because you at least tried it. Yeah. And that's really what it's all about. And you always have to keep striving to just never stay in the same place. You just have to keep building. And I say it all the time. When I watch episode 1 of this one, I want to vomit. I'm like, this is, and I thought it was like, I thought it was the best. Like when the time came, I was like, damn, we're streaming to all these places. I'm like, wow, this thing is cool. And then 10 episodes later, I'm like, damn, what the hell was I thinking? But I went back and watched like episode 20 of like the Joe Rogan Experience, and they're in a basement. They have terrible lighting. They got terrible microphones. They got just like, it was so like unpolished compared to what it is now. And, I mean, obviously you just have to keep building. Obviously he had a lot of people probably helping him in that, than, just these regular freelance podcasters that we are. Well, TV show now, but
you guys are superstars.
Well, we got front page of I Ponder now, so there we go. That's the first step.
I think it's beautiful to see that, though. I think it's beautiful to look back and see how far you've come. And I've done that. I remember when I first started, the way our website looked, or like the content we were producing, and I look now, I'm like, oh my, what the heck? What were you doing? Like, you just come so far, and it's a beautiful thing to see the growth, because it just, you're able to see, okay, wow, I started now. Wow, and then where am I going to be in the next 5 years? But I remember when I first started my company, I was like looking for developers to like come on board, like, this is a cool idea. What do you think about it? And I remember one guy was like, I don't think it's gonna work. And I was like, okay, I have a vision for it, so I'm still gonna go ahead and do it. And I'm so happy that I had that mindset, because I am where I am now. If I would have listened to him, then I would probably still been in my master's, not doing anything that I love. But because I had a passion for it, I seen a vision for it, and I didn't really let anyone really deter me from what I believed in. I'm able to stand here now and say I've been here for 4 years. So like I like the point, Mike. That's a good point that you mentioned. It was not having anyone deter you from your vision.
Yeah, and that's at the end of the day, that's really all it's about. But you obviously, you talk to that person. He said it's a bad idea. You stayed with it. You're here now. Talk to us about like where you are now, like the team and the people that you brought in. Obviously, they're invested in this business as well. And I've just based on looking on your website, which is great, by the way. So I see that you come up with like music. You'll help cater certain music or instrumentals or whatever the case is for these brands. So what kind of team do you have, and who are the people that you bring in to get that done?
So I have an audio branding strategist on my team. So whenever a brand comes to us and they want to create this experience around music, but they don't have a sound, we're like, hold on, we can create you your own tune that you can use for your activation or for your campaigns. So I have an audio branding strategy that comes in, and we really focus on like the characteristics of your brand. How do you want your audience to feel? And give us like 3 words, right? Some people say like happy. I want them to feel excited. I want them to feel, enthusiastic. And then we take those key words and we come up with a tune that kind of matches how you want them to feel for your activation. So I've been lucky enough to meet so many cool people in the music space that have come on board to help us with sonic branding and musical branding.
Well, I'm just curious. What people have you been connected with because of doing all this? Anybody that's like you didn't have a thought that you would actually meet or work with some certain people in the music industry?
Yeah, so I worked with a lot of, like I said, they're by name they're audio branding strategists. So they create sonic sounds for brands. So they've worked with like brands like maybe Versace. They work with brands and did like, what's the tissue paper brand?
Kleenex.
Yeah, like with the bear on it.
Snuggles.
Yeah. They work with like Coca-Cola, the Coca-Cola sonic identity. So it's just I've been able to, just with networking, connect with people that have already done these cool, massive campaigns that really just loved our idea and was like, hey, I can help with that. I'm like, hey, I have an activation that you could help us with if you want to come on board. And it was just kind of really forming those relationships. And then now they're just kind of like staples of our team. And whenever we have an activation that needs sounds, they're the ones creating the tunes for them. Did that kind of answer your question?
Yeah.
Did it surprise you that when you first came up with this idea and you looked into it that nobody had, like, it was just an untouched market out there? I mean, you're the first.
Yeah, I was surprised, and I was like, it was meant for us to do it, right? Like, it was meant for us to kind of tackle this and to bring it to life. But I think anyone that comes up with a cool idea, you're always surprised, like, hold on, no one's thought of this. And I think so many people have probably thought of it, but they haven't had the courage or the capacity to kind of bring it to life.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably, but I think whatever is meant for you is supposed to be for you,
Well said. And have you thought of, like, I know you guys do gifts, but like, so there's on Instagram, me and Mike follow NFL memes, right? So he's like these plays that happen or something will happen and they'll put like a quote or something, right? Like, have you thought about partnering with like the NFL or like professional teams to be able to add voice notes to like some of their memes or things like that, or even on Instagram?
Yeah. So before COVID hit, we were actually talking with a sports team in New York about creating experiences.
Is it this one?
Well, there's only one sports team in New York, and it's the Buffalo Bills.
It's not this one. Oh, okay.
No, not that one. Not that one.
All right. No, she said sports team. She didn't say football team.
I didn't say football. Sports
wow.
team.
Okay. Yeah.
And then we're gonna do an activation with them, and then with the whole Corona, just kind of everything just kind of went to the hayside. But our goal now, as the world's starting to open back up, is to start partnering more with sports teams, especially for doing like sports recaps in a cool way, or maybe having your audience create the memes for you using like a sound bite of the person talking, or just any cool ways to create that interactive content or immersive content.
That'd be great. It'd be awesome, right? If you could do like a GIF of like after they score a touchdown, there'd like be like a kiosk in the back of the end zone. They go in and do like a GIF
and do the thing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Or like
that would be cool.
Touchdown dance.
Yeah, exactly. That's something to see.
Yeah. That's the goal. Cross our fingers. Cross
our fingers.
Yeah. So all the NFL execs that are watching right now,
exactly.
Please reach out to Chynna. You can find her on LinkedIn or go to gifsoutloud.com and send her a note. Obviously you said New York sports team. Hopefully it's I know you can't say anything, but hopefully it's the MLB because they're in dire need of some new fresh content.
Baseball is so like antiquated and like it needs to come into like the 21st century, and a company like yours, I think it'd be great.
Got it.
Well, they're just like those stubborn companies that didn't want a remote. They want to keep everything in house. They have their own media company. They don't want to. They don't want people posting clips on YouTube because they want it all on their platform. But they don't realize like you have all this reach where people could view all of your content. They could watch highlights and this and that. So what? It's your stuff. But if somebody wants to do it and it's going to bring a little bit more exposure to your team, even if it's a pie in the face after a home run, but they're not letting it go on YouTube. That's something that could possibly go viral or whatever the case is. I mean, who knows? We could have figured out this whole Houston Astros thing so much quicker.
Yeah, absolutely.
If it was on YouTube, it'd be like, oh, he's wearing a microphone. He's wearing a headset. But it's they're just not going with the times.
That's what I was going to say. They have to go with the times, especially in this TikTok world and this Instagram social media world. As a brand, you have to create content towards that Generation Z, this millennial, because there's the ones that are sharing the content and creating the content that are going to get millions of views. Yeah. So if you're not using them as your brand advocates, you're kind of missing a whole pie of people that could really just be amplifying your brand.
Yeah, I think TikTok is the platform for the sports teams, and they're going hard on it, and many different teams are on there, and they're sitting there engaging with these random fans, and you have people saying my TikTok wish list, I want an NFL team to comment, and it's usually the Detroit Lions that are commenting first. I have seen. I mean, what else are they gonna do over there? They're not really playing football, so they have to do something.
I can't say too much about that because I don't really watch it that much. You know what I mean? So I can't really comment on how they're doing.
No, they're not. Spoiler alert.
Got it.
You were talking about branding. Have you thought about partnering with individuals? Because obviously individuals have their own brand, right? Mm-hmm. So like individual athletes, individual influencers, individual, let's say even in college athletics, individual branding is a big thing. Have you guys thought about, going down that avenue?
Yeah. So when we were doing our kiosks, the tricky thing is a lot of people, when they're individual, they don't want to pay for the technology, right? So they rather partner with a brand, right? Whether it's an artist or a single sports person, so that the brand can pay for the technology to use. Yeah. So it's been easier for us to kind of go the brand route because they have the marketing dollars to kind of create the experiences that they want. Yeah. But with our virtual activation, influencers or single person on a sports team, they're able to create these experiences themselves. Yeah. So I think that was our goal with this platform, was to give them the power to create the same type of experiences virtually for their audience.
That's cool. I was going to say, look, 4 years ago, you're 3 classes away from graduating. If this hadn't worked out, would you have gone back to healthcare, or would you have said, you know what? I'm going to do something different?
I think I would just start another company. And it really, I think I've always been an entrepreneur, right? Since I was a little girl, I knew I was going to start something. So when I was getting my healthcare degree, I was going to start a home care agency.
Oh, okay.
My family's like in the doctors and nurses. So I already kind of had them on board. So that was the goal. I was going to start something, whether it was like that or Gif Out Loud or something else.
Yeah.
So I think I love the ability to kind of like start something and kind of have a passion for it and see it through. I think that's like the most exciting part of entrepreneurship.
Yeah. Finally, the last one for me. What do you say to young people out there? They're in school, right? They're going through all these classes, obviously remote, Zoom, and they're thinking of doing something, but they're hesitant, right? They're afraid of the risk because they're taught, you got to go to school, get a degree. What do you say to those people who are, who are looking to do something like you did, but are unsure?
I'll say you have to block out the naysayers, right? You really cannot. You cannot care what other people think about your idea. You really have to believe in yourself. Number one, if you don't believe in yourself, it's not going to work, because you really need yourself in order to bring something to life. Because if you don't have confidence in yourself, then other people are not going to see the confidence in you. So they're going to be like, why should I?
Well said.
You know what I mean?
Well said.
So I'll say believe in yourself, understand what your strengths are, and you have to block out the haters. You have to block out the naysayers, because just because they don't see your vision, they're not supposed to see your vision. It's not for them to see, it's for you to do, So just stay focused and just believe in yourself. That's what I would say.
Amen. Well said.
Yeah, no, that's perfect. And I completely agree with that, because, really, if you just have a passion, if you're driven to do something, then sky's the limit, and nobody could stop you at that point. So you just have to go for it. And, I went to school. I mean, I didn't go, master's route, but I just never really saw it as like that's the thing that really you have to do. And
I don't think so. And I think, especially being in tech, you could be 13, 14 years old with a startup tech company making millions of dollars. So there's really not an age limit or an education cap of starting an idea. You could start right now at any age that you are, I think that's the power. That's the beautifulness of entrepreneurship, is there's no age limit. Start when you're 10, sell lemonade. You can make money from that. That's being an entrepreneur.
Well, you're 100% right.
Yeah.
100%
Yeah.
Right.
And, for those out there that are, thinking about it, it's not going to be this overnight thing that you're seeing all over social media, like the Charli D'Amelias and all these other viral superstars. Obviously a lot of people gain notoriety off of like YouTube and things like that, and now TikTok, but there was a lot of work put into all of that, content that they were generating.
Yeah.
And it wasn't, just because you found it, and that it's not a coincidence. Like they were consistent. And that's what you have to do when you're building a business. You have to stay consistent, and you have to keep pushing forward. And it's not going to be easy. It's not going to be easy year 1, year 2, and then you
5, 6 or 7.
Yes,
exactly. But you just have to realize, like, are you still passionate about it? If you are, then you keep at it. Are you having fun doing it? Do you feel fulfilled while doing it? It's not about the money. Money definitely helps us, live a comfortable life and whatnot. But, really it's all about that fulfillment. And as long as you have that, then you're going to make it. It's just a matter of when. And like our good friend Jake, who was on our show a couple months ago, he said, it's already happened. Time just hasn't caught up yet.
Yeah.
So I love that one. And I guess one more question, because we didn't talk about it, but you're looking to implement some AR and VR as well.
Yeah.
Walk us through like what that would be like.
So an example is we were talking with a music artist in Nigeria. Because that genre of music is kind of getting really popular in the States now.
Mm-hmm.
And they wanted to create like an AR experience that allows fans to kind of immerse themselves in like maybe the artist's music video. So we're going to create an experience that allows them to see themselves in the actual environment of the music video. So they're actually like creating a music video within the artist's sound and design. So that would kind of be like an immersive experience where we're placing them in the environment. They can create the content, and it kind of turns them into the music video for the music artist. So that's kind of like a mixture of AR, VR. Not your typical VR with goggles, but more so placing them in that environment to create content with it. But
that's awesome.
Yeah. But we're not so focused on VR anymore.
Gotcha.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just thinking about your company, so many things are going to my. I'm thinking about like at the Academy Awards when they arrive and they take pictures, have a kiosk where they can do a GIF. The Super Bowl, the draft, like all these events that eventually are going to come back, like have a GIF kiosk. I mean, the sky's the limit.
So much content, right? It's so much fun content, like meme content that can be created with like funny sound bites or like with fun little jingles, you know?
So, Chynna, this is the question I ask everybody who comes on the show towards the end. You're 4 years into it. Where do you see your company, yourself, next 5 or 10 years?
I see myself on the beach in Hawaii, relaxing.
All right.
I like it.
In 5 years, I would like to have started. I'll be so comfortable, maybe acquired or grown a lot, my team a lot. Maybe we're like in our growth stage, where I'm able to kind of start another company within Gif Out Loud. So I think that's like my 5-year goal, is to either grow or get acquired or start another Gif Out Loud company.
Well, I gotta say, your story is true. It's a remarkable story. I mean, like 3 classes away, no tech experience. You in a world full of like all these smart, all these like geniuses. Here you come in and you turn the business inside out, and look what you've done now. It's a tremendous accomplishment. Congratulations on all you've done, and nothing but the best for you. It's great.
Thank you. I think it's a testament to anyone. You can really just have an idea and go for it. It doesn't really matter about whether people look like you in the industry, whether you have the smartest degree. If you have an idea, just rock with it and go with it and believe. Like I said, believe in yourself. So thank you, Rick, for that.
Well, man. Confidence is you exude it. I mean, it's just incredible.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yeah, and that's really what it's all about. I think you said a lot of things here today that that somebody's going to hear and they're going to be like, you know what? I have to do that. Maybe it's somebody that was right in that same boat. Like, hey, I'm going through this healthcare thing and just it's not doing it for me. Or I mean, obviously any industry, because sometimes you find out, years into what you're doing, like, I don't want to do this. Like, what did I, why did I do it? But I mean, that's also what college is for, I feel, in a sense, to just figure out if this is the path that you want to be on. And then once you're on that path, you find out, before you find out what you love, you find out what you hate. So
I don't want to do this. I took biology. I was like, okay, this is not for me. I don't like biology. Like you said, college is a way to kind of, like you said, find what you like and what you don't like. I mean, you can't force yourself to like something you don't, because then you'll just be miserable your whole life. Doing something that you hate, and that's not fun, right? So I say stay in college, stay in school, but do something that you love.
Don't just go to college to learn the subject. Try to learn life while you're there. And I feel when I did go to school, I went for game and web design because I wanted to, work for like Pixar and learn like 3D animation at one point. And the school did absolutely nothing to get me set up for it. It was kind of horrible. It was such a waste of money.
Did you like the classes? Like, did you like the class itself or not really? Like, did you learn?
The way they were teaching was more like, here's a textbook and here you go. There was a couple of good classes, don't get me wrong, but I honestly, there was one teacher that it wasn't even the subject that I learned the most of. Like, he was just spitting truth out there and saying this is how this is, or this is how that is. This is what you got to do if you want to do this. And it really wasn't about the subject itself, and just put things in perspective a little bit. And I've taken some of that tutelage and did nothing with the actual subject matter. Nothing with the subject matter, but the things that he said, still hold true to this day. And I've utilized it and adapted it in my own way. And sometimes this little silver lining can come out of something entirely different, and you just have to keep your eyes open and ear to the ground, and eventually you're going to find out that thing that you love, and the thing that you're passionate about, and you just go for it. And don't, some people say, oh, you have to go to college because you have to be a doctor or you have to be a lawyer. It's like, well, what if I don't want to be a doctor or a lawyer?
Yeah.
Well, we're paying for your school, so you're going to be a doctor and a lawyer. It's just
what's crazy is that we're brought up to think those are the only careers that make money, and there's so
I know, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Being a doctor and a lawyer, I mean, in the tech industry, they make 10 times that of lawyers and doctors. So it's like you don't have to be a doctor or lawyer to make a good living,
Absolutely.
Yeah, and or learn a trade or this. It's like, yeah, but if you're not fulfilled, people that works in like unions, like road workers or whatever, like they'll get like crazy overtime, crazy benefits or whatever, or even like police officers, fire department, nurses, doctors, all of these all these different professions that are all drummed up to be these very high salary positions and very good as far as retirement benefits and stuff like that. But if you're not enjoying it, then what's the point of of the big paycheck at the end of the day? So
that's a good point, because I think with my background in acting and then having the business come together, it was really my passion, because I was able to like create stories, and that's what acting is, right? You're like telling these stories to an audience, and now I can do that on the business side. So it's like bringing my two passions together, and not so much the healthcare.
So let's say back to Rick's question real quick. I know we're against the clock, but so say Gif Out Loud is acquired and everything, and you're sitting pretty. Would you try to do acting again?
So I still do acting.
Oh, you do? Okay.
Oh, okay.
So I just did a commercial maybe 2 months ago. I've done like Toyota commercials, Airbnbs. Like it's still my passion. I love performing. So I still do.
Awesome.
But I just know that, to pay the bills, it doesn't.
Yeah.
I have my other passion that could kind of bring in the income, so I can always have this passion on the side.
Those damn bills, right?
Yeah, they never go away. They're always there.
Go away.
Always there.
Chynna, thank you so much for coming on. It was an absolute pleasure talking to you, and you're always welcome on the show.
Awesome. It was I had fun chatting with you guys. Thank you for inviting me.
No, you are an inspiration. So thank you much, Chynna.
Yeah,
Appreciate it.
the energy and the confidence that you brought today, I think it's going to help a lot of people out there. I mean, we felt it, and it's resonating with us.
Awesome. Well, that's what it's all about. Hopefully, I can give you guys some energy.
That's it. It all started with the head bopping on the theme music. I was like, that's it.
That is funny. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. I'm going to tune in to your guys' next show, because I love your guys' energy, and you guys have a good energy together.
Oh, appreciate that.
Thank you very much. We appreciate that.
Let's hope the Knicks don't lose. You won't see much energy from me, but
oh gosh. Look, I'm crossing my fingers.
There we go.
I mean, they have to lose a game eventually.
Okay.
How are they doing? Because I don't really know. Are they doing pretty?
They're doing real well. They're the fourth seed in the East, and they're doing really well. So I haven't missed one game. I have not missed a game. So.
Okay. Awesome. Yeah. Hopefully they can stay that way, right?
Yes. Let's hope so. Thank you, Chynna. Appreciate it.
Have a great night, Chynna. Thank you again. Bye-bye.
I love her energy, man. It's so
great energy.
It's
great energy.
Yeah, it's great. But that is an amazing story. Think about that for a second, right? You're 3 classes away from graduating. Your parents are excited. You have all these people like, oh, gonna graduate, and you walk into the house one day. You're like, I'm done. What? Like, yeah, I'm done. I want to go start my own gift company, and that's it. Like people, they're like, what do you? And it's funny. People try to, what, are you okay? Let me talk you out of it. You're like, no. I'm going to do my thing. And look, it's paid off. 4 years later, it's incredible.
Yeah, and it's all about just going with that passion. And if you have it, then nobody can talk you out of it.
And she's not even like it's not like she had any tech industry experience, and she just had this great idea. So good for her, man. Like the next time we see a kiosk at a stadium, we'll know it's hers. Like, hey. There's a GIF kiosk over there.
Oh, Matty Wolf, former UK player, Terrence Clark passed today, declared for the NBA draft, was leaving a workout.
Oh my God.
Like the moral he's trying to show is life could be short. Do what makes you happy. Well, thoughts and prayers, obviously, to Terrence Clark, his family, and it's heartbreaking to hear, but absolutely agreed. Matt, obviously, we talked about it this whole episode. Just do what makes you happy, and that's what it's all about. So enjoy everything that you got, and be happy doing it.
He was 19 years old, man. Terrible.
That is, and he was just declared for the draft and everything.
Yeah. Looks like it was in a car accident. That's terrible. Terrible story, man. Terrible story. Our thoughts and prayers with the family, obviously.
Yeah.
So you just never know, man.
Yeah, it's heartbreaking. I'm trying to find it, but I can't find it right now.
I just Googled it. Mets are 3-3 in the 7th.
Oh, okay.
Matty Wolf's boy, by the way, Kyle Pitts out of Florida, will probably be a top 5 pick in the NFL draft, which I want to get into with you because the draft is coming up in 7 days.
Oh, yes.
There's a lot of fluidity in this draft. A lot going on.
Yeah, well, I mean, we just got that news the other day. You told me Justin Fields diagnosed with epilepsy, which is, it's a horrible disease, and obviously we wish.
The good news is, from what I was reading, that it doesn't affect. It doesn't look like it's going to affect him on the field and playing. He looks like he's going to grow out of it. So.
Okay, good.
He's going to be okay. He's fine. It's just something that he had to disclose to the teams. But they're Miami's talking about trading out and getting more picks again. I mean, the number 3 pick with San Francisco, is it going to be Mac Jones? Is it going to be Trey Lance? Is it going to be Justin Fields? Nobody really knows. What's Atlanta going to do at 4? I'm curious to know what the Eagles are doing because I don't know if you saw this, but the coach came out and said that there's going to be a QB competition. And I'm saying to myself, why?
Between who? Who do they have? Hurts and who?
Hurts. I don't know who the other person is. And I said to myself,
Sudfeld? Who do they still have over there?
I don't know, but I was saying to myself, why the hell did you trade Wentz? It didn't make any sense. I don't know. Philadelphia that's a mess over there, man. But I mean, so much fluidity. It's going to be exciting, man. I can't wait for next Thursday night. I'm so pumped for it.
Yeah, I'm not seeing what they're saying on the Hurts. No, I don't see I'm not seeing it right now, but it says I've searched Eagles, and Justin Jefferson is definitely excited the Eagles passed on him in the 2020 NFL draft. Yeah, I would say he lucked out on that one.
Yeah.
I mean, that kid lit it up.
Absolutely. But it's going to be a fun draft next week, man. I'm excited for it. I mean, there are going to be a lot of moves.
I'm seeing the ESPN story. Eagles want competition, not ready to name quarterback.
Yeah.
Oh, Flacco.
Oh, come on,
Hurts
man.
and Flacco. Wow.
That's crazy.
That is just insane. Matty Wolf thinks that Pitts is going to be going to the Atlanta Falcons.
You know what? I got to say.
Julio Jones and Calvin Ridley. I mean,
oh, my God. How do you stop that offense? That kid's elite. Like, that kid, Kyle Pitts, is – I mean, I was hoping the Jets grabbed him, to be honest with you. Like, if they could have traded down and kept Darnold, you grab him.
Mm-hmm.
But, we didn't do that. So
Your screen is frozen on me, but I don't know how all of our viewers are viewing this. Oh, it looks frozen on you too?
Yeah, I can't. For some reason, I can't move my mouse. So this might be, I guess, a good time to call it.
Doesn't look like you can move your mouth either right now. Oh, okay. So we lost Rick, but Okay, so I guess that pretty much calls it for today. The NFL draft is next week. We will be back with one show next week because we will take next Thursday off for everyone to enjoy the NFL draft, including us. And it's going to be shaped out to be a very interesting event, as it always is. The NFL draft brings in the most viewership of all the other drafts that are out there in sports. So we're looking forward to that, but we'll see you Tuesday night at 9 p.m. Eastern. Until then, have a great weekend, everybody. Good night.